Welcome back to another episode of Forbidden Depths. I'm your host, Queen Frostbitten, and we're here today to get down, dirty, and sultry by staying open, educated, consensual, and safe. If you're returning, welcome back to another episode. Thanks for supporting the channel and its growth. If, of course, you're new here, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe, because one taste will never be enough. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Forbidden Depths. Today we have an amazing, beautiful switch. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you.
Hi, I'm Petty Betty Brat.
Gorgeous, isn't she? She's gorgeous. And if you're listening to the audio only, you're missing out. You can go ahead, hop on over to Twitter, give her a follow. It's at Petty Betty Brat. That's PettyBettybrat. Now, Betty, kind of tell me how you determined that you were a switch.
It's like a very recent thing for me. I met someone in the fall on TikTok that like he followed me and then I followed him back. And then I think I left a comment on one of his videos and then he DM'd me. And it went from like sort of him being in charge to like I'll do anything you ask me to do, like if you just want to like choke me a little bit. I was like what? And then like just a couple weeks later, like, and then ever since then, and like he's also a switch, but it's very much like we're both very sub leaning, so it's funny because sometimes we'll have fights about like you have to stop it. No you have to. And also he lives very far away from me, so that's annoying.
Yeah.
But it was literally just finding someone. It's very aptly named because it just a switch flips in your brain and you're like, oh, interesting.
And it takes a certain person to kind of blend with your chemistry whenever you're a switch, right? Because not everybody's the right kind of top or the right kind of bottom for you, so you kind of have that power exchange, right? Yeah. So I'm a dom. I did try to be switchy many years ago, and I'm going to say I had a very, very negative experience, and it kind of turned me against being submissive for the longest time. And I was like born dominant. I had like even as a little kid, I was always the one in charge of everything. So I guess I was always leading that role, and I'm not comfortable playing submissive because somebody tries to like give me some kind of orders and I want to like punch them in the face. So I have a problem with that, but I appreciate and love switches. I wanted to ask you about your pinned on Twitter because you look so fucking adorable. Like the cutest, sweetest. What inspired this clip that you have pinned on your Twitter?
Hold on, I gotta go see what we're talking about. I don't even remember what it is.
Oh, you're so cute.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you're so cute.
Yeah, so that was actually, I only started doing like partner content in January. So that was maybe the third, let's see. He was either the second or third person I had ever shot with. And when I went to see him, he was like, yeah, I just want to, like do a couple pictures. So he like set up the ring lights. Then we did a couple, like me facing the back of the couch, booty out. He spanked me a couple times, and then just like he was just like standing over me and like put his hand on my face, and like that look on my face was just how I felt. It was just like pure like, oh, yep. Yeah, this is how it's supposed to be with us.
Right.
And he took those pictures on my phone. So like I'm just like, I'm very intuitive with that kind of stuff. Like it's funny, my first photo shoot, someone was like, hey, do you practice it? I was like, no, you just pointed a camera at me and like I figured it was gonna look silly, but in my head was like, America's Next Top Model, bitch. Like it probably looks fire. And sometimes it actually does.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tell you, you definitely hit like every fucking thing with this. whenever I started following you, that was the first thing I looked for. I looked at your pin. And if you guys go check out her Twitter, you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, perfect example of facial expression, like willingness, eagerness, like subspace, just incarnated in this little GIF. I love it. I love it. So I had to ask about it. That wasn't even one of my questions for you today. I was just so excited I had to ask.
It was pure gold caught on camera. And then he gave me my phone back and I was like, oh my God, that's me. Like that's me.
Yeah. Yeah. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. Okay. So let's reroute to the questions. Tell me what you consider yourself. What is your profession in sex work?
That's a
Loaded.
hard question. Because it's like, I don't know, like I guess I just content creator is really because I've like looked into stuff like escorting. I don't like calling it porn. Like when I told my sister knew about this for a while and she thought it was just like photography and I was like, no, I'm like on camera. She's like full porn. I was like, I don't really call it that anymore. That brings to mind like shag rugs, 1970s, like bad hair kind of stuff. But yeah, okay. You say I'm doing porn if it makes you, if that helps you connect with it. Yeah, probably just content creator because it's hard for me. Like I'm still kind of feeling it out. Like this was something I really enjoy doing. And then people were like, you should be paid for it. And I was like, hold the fucking horses. You'd pay me
to get paid?
So yeah, it's just like exploring and just kind of doing whatever feels natural.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Okay, so what drew you to sex work? I know you kind of said that you kind of did it before, you just didn't really get paid for it and you kind of got drew in. So how did you get there to begin with?
Do you want the long story or the short story? Because we can circle back to the long story if there's a question that's more relevant to how I got into it.
If it's juicy, I want the long one.
Okay, so I spent a very, very tumultuous 2 years on and off with a man who was like a raging alcoholic, smart dude, really sweet sometimes.
Right.
But then he'd either get like really shit, just blackout drunk at 11 a.m. And he worked from home doing, you know, IT stuff a lot of the time. So he'd get up and like have like 3-4 White Claws. He was a big dude. So of course it didn't hit him the way it would hit me. But I consider it a toxic relationship because I'm not really comfortable labeling it abuse. It definitely wasn't supportive. It wasn't kind. None of the stuff he said to me or the way he treated me was how I would want to be treated.
Right.
I just didn't really know. You know, I kind of ended up in like survival mode at the time where I was like, just if I could just make him happy, if I can just make him happy, then this will get better. And like, he'll see that I have stuff to offer. And eventually went no contact with him and kind of got involved with Kink Talk. And then from there found someone that I followed to NSFW Twitter and then ditched their ass because they piece of trash. But the community I found there when I was posting exclusively for this crappy person's attention was so supportive and so like people every day like, do you have an OnlyFans? Why don't you have an OnlyFans? You should be like, you're posting nudes online for free. What the fuck? That's crazy. And just like the sense of community I found here, the fact that I really do enjoy it, like that pinned video is probably like the essence of my attitude in this kind of work, is just like genuine enjoyment, attraction, and connection. And that's the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. And that's what it should be. Like, you should be able to express and love yourself, you know, and it should be one of those things that you enjoy, not something where you feel like this is survival mode too. Like you feel like you're only doing it because you want to survive. Because at the end of the day, when it's like that, you really don't get to love yourself through it. Like, I know for me, it brought a lot of understanding, a lot of self-love, a lot of self-acceptance to myself. And I've heard a lot of people be like that too. So has it helped you in any way develop?
100%. Yeah. Um, my ex really didn't like himself.
Hmm.
So it was just a constant, like, he didn't want me to like myself.
Right.
And I'm very spiteful. I'm petty, petty Betty for a reason.
Mm.
So I wasn't going to give him that satisfaction of like giving in to, it's just kind of like, I mean, if you don't like the way you look, if you don't like your body, go do something about it. Go
Right.
get hair plugs, go to the gym. And he never wanted to do any of that. So I left him. I ended up going to a spiritual retreat with some really, really incredible people that kind
Hmm.
of just like hard reset my whole state of mind. And I actually just got together with them at the beginning of February for like a 1 year reunion for one of their weddings, and it was just crazy. Like you guys are the ones who knew me like when I was back, that like that crash test dummy that had
Right.
just gotten out of the worst relationship of my life, and now I'm like a totally different person. Yeah,
Yeah.
leaps and bounds. I am so much happier.
Good. I'm so glad. I'm glad to hear it, both that you found, I guess, more love for yourself and that you're exploring more of yourself. Because I mean, like before, you didn't really know that you were switchy either. Now you're kind of like, maybe I am, you
Hmm.
know? And that's the great thing about sex work. You can literally find yourself. If you stumble through one thing and it's not for you, cool, move on to the next thing. And people don't realize how many niche are really in sex work. Like you don't have to be labeled as one thing. You can move around until you find who you are, you know? That's what I also love about it.
100%.
So, so I know we were talking kind of about you getting involved with sex work. And do you feel that you have any strengths that kind of helped you along the way?
Um, Definitely creativity. I feel like I've heard that a lot. I grew up with undiagnosed ADHD and like
Mhm.
sucked as a kid, but now it's a strength. Now I can say that.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, creativity and the fact that I do enjoy this. I really do enjoy this.
Love for it. The passion. You know, that's one thing about it for me too. Like, I don't really feel like I'm working all the time. Like, yeah, I'm working, I'm busting my ass, but I enjoy it more because I like it.
Mhm.
It's not one of those like 9 to 5s where I feel like I'm punching a clock. I really don't want to be here. I would rather be doing anything else. Like anything, like washing dishes and doing laundry is more exciting. You know what I mean? So, sex work definitely plays on that. So, I know you were kind of talking about with a 9 to 5 and kind of doing this on the side and stuff. So, what's the difference to you between a 9 to 5 and the sex work that you do on the side?
Um, it's freedom. First and
Mm,
foremost, it's just freedom.
yeah.
Um, I work a 9 to 5 right now in an industry that I absolutely despise,
Hmm.
but I like the company that I work for. So it's kind of like best case scenario.
Right.
It is really stressful and um, yeah, it's what I have to be doing versus what I want to be doing. I sit in my
Yeah.
office 8 hours a day, editing stuff on the side, posting stuff on the side, having friends who are in their early 20s texting me at like, 10 a.m. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, bitch, I'm at work. I got bills. What do you mean? What am I doing? You know I'm
Right.
busy. Like the FOMO is insane because I'm like, yeah, I super wish I could be out there fucking people. Like just
Right.
have sex, eat, sleep, repeat. That's what I want my life to be. But until I'm like financially stable enough with this work, I can't do that.
Yes, yes, 100%. And I feel like in order to be successful and be able to make it a full-time thing, it's not one of those, oh, I can just invest 6 months and then I'm going to blow up, be the biggest model ever. People don't realize that it's like anything else, it's an investment. And some people, I've seen them work for 15 years before they can have something that's steady and consistent and they solely make money with that. Like I know people that do in real life that have literally been doing it 20 years and they still have a job, like a regular 9 to 5. Like kudos to those people because let me tell you, it is fucking hard. One, they work their ass off. For two, you have no time for yourself. the only time for yourself is that sex work that you do, because there's only so many hours in the day, you know? So
Very much
anybody
so.
that's listening, if you don't have a giant platform, or if you're just starting out, don't be discouraged, because your first month you can make like $1,000, and then it take you like a year before you make that again, or 2 years before you make that again. It's
Mhm.
one of those things where as soon as you start out, you're kind of a new face and everybody's like, "Ooh, I want that." And then it kind of dies off a little bit. And then you got to wait and build yourself up, because you're your brand, right? So you have to grow that brand. And in order for more people to see you, you have to advertise, which a lot of people don't understand. But it is grind. Like, you feel like you grind all the time, don't you?
Mhm.
Like, I feel like I work my ass off with marketing and advertising, and that's not easy. That's why most people pay somebody else to do it.
And I've been very lucky that like recently I feel so I'm like, you know, I had that initial like a bunch of people followed me from TikTok. I had like 8K before my first account got banned, and then like kind of a drop off. And then I'm
Mhm.
like, I feel like I'm like just kind of cresting that first hill on the roller coaster where like I'm starting to pick up momentum. I'm like making some really cool friends who are sharing me on their platforms.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And it's it it feels good because it's I mean, you know, I have a friend of a friend who has celebrated their 2 months on Twitter with 12,000, and you know was just like, I'm so happy for you. So
Yeah,
like I am happy for them, but
right.
at the same time it's like I've been doing this shit for a year, and
Yeah.
it's just like looking at like I post stuff like that, and just like
Yes.
you can't compare yourself. Don't compare yourself to the
Exactly.
way anyone else is doing it, because your circumstances are different, your resources are different, your niche
Yes.
is different. Just because
Yes.
someone has a different body type, audience, etc.,
Mhm.
like they work part-time, I work full-time, automatically right there is just I'm not going to be able to
Yes.
like be out fucking people every day on camera.
100%.
It's just
And you have to look to see what you got going on to the day. Like, how much can you invest? How many contacts do you have? What does your network look like? Because I'm going to tell you that a lot of these people that have giant followings, they have connections with somebody. They have some kind of connection with someone who's helped them along the way. Because nobody blows up, nobody has a Twitter for 2 months and blows the fuck up like that. Like, they've already got contacts somewhere. That's like, oh my goodness, let me tell you, I was so disgusted with whenever COVID happened and everybody's like, oh, I'm going to jump into OnlyFans. I'm going to make me a shit ton of money. Woo. So you had like all this saturation, a million people that were just like, I'm going to go like no face and not show anything and just make a ton of money. They're going to love my nudes. And they get on there and then they don't make any money. And they're like, well, I thought this platform paid me for putting my nudes there. No, you pay that platform. They're not going to pay you. You pay them. And then you have to do your own marketing, because there's no internal traffic. There's no internal search engine. There's no way to search for any kind of hashtags. They can't even find you unless they have your exact fucking link or your exact fucking at. They're not going to find you. So I'll tell you this one really quick story. I had this lady message me. She was one of the people I used to go to school with. She messaged me and she's like, I've had my account on OnlyFans open for 2 months and I haven't had anybody subscribe. Will you please go subscribe to mine, be my first subscriber? And I will have you know, this individual never supported me in any of my work. She never messaged me to be like, oh, girl power, or just what the fuck ever. Like, oh, be yourself. You know, she was one of those people that stayed in the back because she didn't want people talking about her if she stood up for somebody. I understand it. I do. But at the same time, how are you going to come to me and be like, oh, well, and she asked me to advertise for her too. Like, no, no, because people like that don't understand the grind. They don't understand the work that we put in. They think that they just go put their stuff there and then somebody else does all the work for them. I wish it was that way, because you and I'd be blowing the fuck up. As much effort as we put in, we'd be blowing the fuck up.
mhm.
So it's one of those things. I feel like we work so much more than people give us credit for. And I guess it was one of those things where I just wanted to be like, whenever I get mine, I want it to be because I earned it. I don't want it to be because somebody else handed it to me kind of situations, you know?
Mhm.
But I'm also a stubborn motherfucker. So I guess, Petty Betty,
Mhm.
frostbitten. I guess we kind of,
Right there.
So I get it.
Yeah, I was talking to because I was talking to someone recently about like paid promos, and like
Hmm.
so I went through like the phase of gift groups and like gift
Hmm.
rounds, which are exhausting and overstimulate the hell out of me because like okay, I gotta
Yeah.
follow all the mods and then I gotta retweet 30 things from a bunch of accounts I've never
Hmm.
heard of, may not like their stuff, may not want it on my
Yeah.
page, but
Yeah.
I got to do it so that they'll all hit my stuff. And then, but what
Right.
if I'm losing followers because now they're being spammed with a whole bunch of shit that they didn't follow me for?
Yes.
So I went from that to like promo threads, like was it like Women of OnlyFans, Cookie
Hmm.
Jar, stuff like that, where it'll just be like, it's Titty Tuesday, and you post a
Right.
picture of your boobies, and you might get like 4 follow. And I was like, that is so much more my speed because
Yeah.
I'm not trying to like pay for. If I had something that I was like really excited about, like a video that I knew was going to do well, if it just hit the right vein, I might
Right.
consider like a paid promo. But
Yeah.
just for my existence, I would much rather like, low and slow. I'm building my audience. I'm just having them find me. I'm collabing with
Yeah.
people
And
that
it's real
I vibe with.
connections.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I
It's
have.
not like those bot accounts where they're just like spam following people and
Mhm.
shit, you know? And I'm going to tell you, back whenever I first started, I did fall into the paid promo trap. I was like, this is awesome. People actually do this. And I ended up paying, I think it was $100. It was either 80 or $100. And I got 4 followers. I was like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's not like that's a permanent post that it's always going to be, and the oversaturation of paid promos. So you don't know how many other people are on that wall unless you follow the model or they send you like a free subscription to their page to see it.
Mhm.
And who's to say that every model's honest? Because let's face it, not everyone is. And that is like, I guess that's part of it. You have to know that not everyone is going to be like you. Like I wish everyone was. I wish everyone was like super supportive and super good and super giving, but unfortunately, like anything else in life, that's not how it is. Just like at a 9 to 5, there are some people that you have to clean up after. I was always the fixer at every place of employment I had. I was always cleaning up after somebody else. And that gets tiring. It's the same situation. And I mean, you're going to clean up after other people too, but at least you can do it operating your business. So if you, like we were talking about just a moment ago, if you don't fucking like it, then bye. You can step away. Like if you are in one of those retweet groups and you don't like it, be like, I'm going to see myself out. Thanks for the opportunity. And just go,
Yeah.
you can't really do that if you're at a 9 to 5 unless you like want fired. You're like, oh no, I'm not cleaning up after that person. They're gonna be like, that's part of your job. So not exciting. So I know you said that you had kind of been doing your work for a while now. Exactly how long were you doing it before you got into being a professional content creator? And about how long do you have under your belt for that?
I'm gonna not count the few times I dipped my toe into like Findom when I was in my like early 20s. I fell into that
Mhm.
trap of like, that they all do. Like you get the girls like
Yeah.
fresh out of college and they're like, oh, be mean to men and get paid. And then it's just like, no, honey, there's
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of other girls who, yeah, no,
Yeah.
and it's so much more than
Mhm.
just like I'm mean to you, you pay me. It's an actual sub-dom relationship and it needs to be treated
Yes.
as such. But
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so glad that you know that because there are so many people that don't know that. It's a
oh yeah.
struggle trying to explain it.
Yeah. And it's not sustainable. Even like I tried sugar dating. So I guess
Hmm.
if we're considering that, let's see. I opened my OnlyFans in like November
Hmm.
ish. What year is it now? It's 2023.
We're in March
So
2023.
okay, it feels like it's been forever, but it's been like maybe 8 months.
Hmm.
I had never really done anything like, I started making like TikToks, and then from there I went to Twitter, but I wasn't like, I was doing like only solo stuff. Like I said, I shot my first
Hmm.
partner scene in January with a good friend, and it's just like
Yeah.
taken off from there. So like
Yeah.
all told, probably about a year. But
Nice.
a lot of time thinking about it, and like it's so funny in every scene. I ate a woman out for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
Didn't tell them. Um, and like afterward was like, real talk though, how was that? She was like, good. I was like, good, because that was my first time. And it's like there's so much stuff that people are like, oh, have you done? I'm like, no, I've never done any of this. Like I'm fresh little kink baby. Like I want to try everything. I want to try almost everything. I'm gonna put that disclaimer on it.
Okay.
There are a couple
Yeah,
things I
yeah, I
don't
would
want
say
to try,
almost.
but
I would definitely throw that in there.
it's just, I mean,
That's
there's so much I haven't done, and every time someone asks me, I'm just like, no. I'm not ashamed. I'm not afraid to admit it
I'm
anymore.
ready
Because
to
I'm like,
go.
yeah, let's do it. Tie me up, hit me.
Let's
I don't
do
care. Let's do it.
it. Oh, I fucking love it. I love it. So I know we were kind of talking about the relationship that you got out of, and then you kind of got into the friends that helped you kind of level out and get on track with your life. Do you still have those in your life? Are they still part of your support system?
Mhm.
And do you have anyone outside of sex work that is your support system?
Yeah, so I called them my soul squad because
No.
we we all met through a singer-songwriter we really like who became a life coach.
Hmm.
And I just remember like I kind of knew she had been working on this project with like some other people, but then I like just saw it advertised and it was like, we're gonna go to Tulum for about a week and with a bunch of incredible other like women, female presenting people and
Hmm.
just learn about connection and desire. And it just kind of like hit me though, like, oh, I don't know what I desire. I don't really know
Yeah.
what connection feels like. And so after that experience, yeah, I do. I call them my soul squad. We were together for my 29th birthday and then technically together for my 30th birthday this year. It was a couple
Hmm.
days off, but it's close enough. So like, um, and then I have, my whole family, well, mostly my whole family knows. I told my sister
Hmm.
before I told my mother, but I did eventually tell my mother. And while she, is like a little bit of a more like old wave feminist, doesn't really
Right.
get it. As long
Yeah.
as I am happy and safe and making money, she is, she's supportive.
Yeah. Good.
And then other
That's
than that, I
awesome.
just have my best friend who I met after she also got out of a really terrible relationship. That's my wife now. We have
Hmm.
a cat that we adopted together. Um,
Okay.
so we have like matching tattoos of her little paws.
Cute. Cute.
Yeah, she's been with me like since before I started this. Really, she's seen the whole journey. She follows my
Hmm.
Twitter, and she's really like, I've seen like inside your body. Like I've seen
Yeah.
places on you that I'm like, you can unfollow. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like it is what it is at this point.
You are a willing participant, miss.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, I told you what this was gonna be.
Right? There was no false advertisement here. It
I did
even
not.
says it in my bio to
Hmm.
remind you every time you go on my page. I love it. So, let's kind of talk about your aspirations. As a child, what did you want to be?
Um, there's a while when I wanted to be a marine biologist.
Hmm.
There's a little while I wanted to be like a singer. After that, I don't think I had any ambitions for a long time. I just like wanted to like exist and have fun. Like I remember my senior year of high school, everyone was talking about like what college they were going to go to and what they wanted to do, and I was like, ah, shit. We have to make those decisions now. And like I said, undiagnosed ADHD. I was like a big fiction reader, so I was just like always had my nose in a book,
Hmm.
never really paying attention to what was going on around me. So like, yeah, it was a little rough being like so disconnected growing up.
Hmm.
Um, Definitely didn't envision this happening,
Hmm.
But if I went back and told myself about it, I think I'd probably be pretty happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's one of those things where you see so many people miserable. Like they're, just looking at them, that they are miserable with the life choices that they made that led them up to be the person that they are. But then there's other people that, and not everybody has it figured out. Like all this bullshit you see like on Facebook, these posts like, I'm the happiest I've ever been. Like half of that's bullshit. Like don't feed into that. If anybody listening has ever seen, you know what I'm talking about. These people that like make this life look so fancy and elegant and crazy, and then later on you find out all this fucking baggage that went along with it, or somebody ends up being like a serial killer and killing their entire family, and you're like, oh, I thought they were so happy. No. So my point of that question was, not everybody has the same path. Brain chemistry, the things that kind of define you as a person, your personality. There's so many factors that go into kind of what path you follow and where you end up being. So don't be discouraged just because maybe you don't know where you want to be. Maybe you're 25 and you don't know what you want to do with your life. That's cool. But you got to find yourself, not look at what somebody else has got going on and then try to do that, because you won't be happy,
I've literally never known what I've wanted to do, and I am okay.
Yeah, like 100%. And you're not only like okay, but you're excelling. Like you're just now finding that part of yourself, and you're doing so fucking well. Like I can't remember how I found you on Twitter, actually. I followed you for some reason, but I can't remember why. And then after I saw your pinned, of course, it solidified everything, because that was pinned before I started following you. And I was like, yes. So
I feel like it was someone we had in common, but I don't remember who.
That's what I was trying to look and see. Maybe it was Saint Smith. Saint Smith follows.
Was it okay? It was either him or I thought maybe
Lyric. It was Lyric.
Oh, really?
Yep. It was Lyric.
I've had no interaction with them.
Yep. So Goddess Lyric follows you. And I remembered she liked something that was on your page. And whenever you like something, it shows people that follow you what you've been liking. And then I thought it was Saint because it's got his name there. But no, whenever I pull up the rest of your follows, it was definitely Lyric. Because I'd followed Lyric a while back. She does domination too. So I started following her because I like minds and I appreciate all art. So after I started following her, she liked something on your page. I can't even remember what it was, but I was like, let me go see what this is about. So I definitely started following because I was a fan. You definitely do very well at advertising.
Thank you. So, I just want to point out, your shirt says alpha as fuck.
Yeah. Oh, maybe today's Satan.
I feel like that's so on brand for both of us.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Were you wearing that shirt in a photo that you took?
I wear this shirt a lot.
Okay, because I think I've seen that shirt in some of your work.
Probably. I was wearing it this past weekend when I did a live stream with a couple friends, and then I wore it a couple weeks ago when I went to see Alana Glazer at the Tampa Theater.
Well, I love it.
It's a lot of play.
I appreciate it. Let's look at a little bit of the kink side. So I know you're kind of still exploring. So tell me what some of your kinks are. Like, what do you like?
My biggest one, and definitely my longest standing one that has taken me like from like maybe 12 or 13, CNC.
Okay.
Big time.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's varying levels. There's all different kinds. I feel like it gets a bad rap, and obviously like you can't post it anywhere because you can't guarantee that it's CNC.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's more of like a private thing. But
That's one of those things. I feel like as long as you do like a briefing in the beginning and a debriefing after, it should be acceptable, but only if it
yeah,
has those, you know what I mean?
yeah, it's hard because from a liability standpoint, I absolutely see where they're coming from. They're not going to have that
Yeah.
on their platform when they can't verify it.
Hmm.
But also, it's like, come on,
That's the good
we're all
stuff.
adults here.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the
come
good
on,
stuff.
it's what we all want.
Yes. Yes.
Um, I mean, bondage, I've been really wanting to try like shibari. I do have a
Mhm.
photographer I've been talking to down in, I think, Fort Lauderdale that does like bondage photo shoots.
Mhm.
And it'd probably be, I'm not like super into feet, but I can appreciate like the foot fetish thing. So I've done
Yeah,
like a little bit of that. BDSM, all the letters.
I love it. I love it. Okay.
I feel like really I don't know. The only thing I don't really go for off the top of my head is like water sports.
Hmm.
Just never really struck me.
Right.
And I like pet play, but I draw the line at furries.
Okay.
So it's like a personal thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really all I can think of so far.
Okay. Okay. Very, very wide, very broad, very
Actually,
open to new things.
what's funny is so I definitely like the like um big little daddy little girl whatever that kind of thing.
Hmm.
I'm all for that, but I don't do age play the way that like my best friend is very much like I'm a baby. I'm
Hmm.
I want to color like she like very much leans into and like we've talked about that because I was like I don't know what it is. I can't do that. I can see other
Right.
people do it. I can respect it. It makes me feel weird.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a child. You can
Right.
dominate me, but I am not a child while we're doing it.
Right.
And like we've talked about like, you know, like maybe my trauma was like different than hers. Like mine was
Mm,
like a child and hers was in her much earlier years. So that's like the
yeah.
closest we've gotten to like pinning down the difference. But
Right.
it's just funny to see it like how people are different when they play.
Yes. And you know, whenever it comes to trauma, it can also hit you different. Like for me, I was traumatized very, very early. So it's one of those things like you were talking about, you know, you kind of draw the line with anything kid play related. Um it's the same reason I don't do brother sister stuff, how they do like stepbrother, stepsister, or sibling play. I can't do that because I was molested and raped by someone that my parents raised. Like they were my cousin, but they were like a brother or sister to me. So like I find it gross. Like it activates PTSD. And like I've grew past that and I don't have any issues with that. Like it doesn't traumatize me anymore, but it doesn't, I don't feel safe. Like it doesn't make
Mhm.
me feel like it makes me feel gross almost.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't want any part of that. And then like, if anybody's listening that is a new model, don't let someone pressure you into doing stuff like that either because you will regret it. I've had over the time I've been involved in work, I've had several occasions where guys have been like, "Oh, well, it's just pretend. You can pretend to be my sister. You can pretend to be my stepsister." No, like I can refer you to someone else that can do that because there are plenty of people out there that do cater to that.
Mhm.
So if you're a client listening, never try to force someone to do that because you don't know what they've been through. You have no fucking idea. So, um, I know we were just kind of talking about the trauma and kind of you experienced that early on, kind of earlier in your years. So you were a child whenever you experienced some kind of trauma?
Yeah, mine so like my best friend hers was like family related trauma.
Mm.
Mine was more like peer group related and
Mm-hmm.
not at all sexual related.
Right.
Just like I dealt with some like really severe like bullying, rejection type stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that may even kind of play into the whole like CNC thing for me.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't want to have to make this choice. You make the choice
Right.
for me. I don't have to
Yeah.
make a choice. I want to know nothing else except that you want me.
Right. And it needs to be like a controlled environment that helps you in a form of therapy. And like, to me, the majority, well, all of my work is rooted in some kind of therapy. Like, I'm helping someone with some kind of trauma that they've experienced, and they trust me to help them with that. Like, I always do like disclaimers before, like, I'm getting paid to do this. I'm not like trying to hurt you or humiliate you, because I'm a huge humiliatrix. So I can talk hella shit, but I don't talk hella shit unless I'm getting paid for it. You know what I mean? I'm not out here just to like hurt people's feelings and make people cry. Like, I got to be paid for that shit. But I guess not everyone realizes that whenever they're looking at different people. Like, not everybody offers humiliation because maybe they had some kind of bad ties with it, you know, and they don't feel comfortable with that. That all goes back to different niches. So you kind of have to find, if you're a client, you kind of have to find somebody that offers whatever it is that you want. But don't be forcing people to do that shit, you know. So we were kind of talking about earlier your aspirations and stuff. So if you were to talk to your younger self and give yourself tips, it could be about maybe who you're going to be in the future, or just maybe advice you need to hear at that time, what would it be?
How far back are we going?
As far as you want to go. Some part where you feel like you need advice, that you wish you could reach out and give this advice to yourself at that time.
I'm gonna say like maybe like 15, 16. And it would just be like, keep being you and stop feeling like there's anything wrong with that. Because I remember being in high school and like hearing about the people who like peaked in high school and like all the memes. I was like, these are the best years of your life. I was like, I fucking hate this. This better not be the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
This is it. Like,
We
we've been
got some
alive
hell.
for 16 years, guys, and not even really alive for most of that. Like, that's sad. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, just keep being you. Don't feel like there's anything wrong with it, and try to be less ashamed of it, because I really did admire. There were people around me that, like, my friends were very much more so themselves. And I think I, as like a rubber band effect after that, like, rejection trauma in my childhood,
Right.
was like, I'm just going to read my books. I'm just going to keep, I had like 2 friends in high school because like we moved around a lot, and I was just like, I just, cool, I get along with that person. And I like never, I didn't resent that. It was just kind of like I didn't really fully realize that it was like, oh, this is me coping with like that
Yeah.
rejection.
Right.
I would tell myself to get into IT early, start learning coding, because I'm trying to do it now and I might be too old.
No, no, you are never too old. So I do have to ask, are you going to be front end, back end, full stack?
I'm ideally full stack because,
Yes.
again, I want freedom. I want to be able to, like, I
Yes.
would love to be able to just like freelance, like, you're a sex worker, you want a website? Cool. Give me 2 months and we'll set up a payment plan and we'll get this done.
Hell yeah. Hell
Even like
yeah.
editing content, stuff like that. I do pretty much everything on my phone. I have like an 8 gig MacBook Air that, like, there's a little pop-up over here that's like, there, I have literally no memory, and I'm like, well, the Zoom is still going, so clearly you're doing something right. Keep it up. But it's literally no memory to function. So I'm like, yeah, I would love to be able to, and I do love like technical stuff. I don't love math. I hate math. Math is my
Yeah,
enemy.
same.
But
Same.
like English and letters and strings of where I'm like, I can fuck with that. I can get down with that.
I need to give you some information after the podcast about coding, so remind me so I do not forget.
Okay.
Um, you can't say that you're too old for coding because we're the same age, and I just got started with coding last year.
Oh, really? Oh my God. Oh my God, take me with you, because I like sex work and freelance coding. That's all I want to do.
Yes, same, same. Huh. that's where I'm slowly going with my life, and I've slowly tried to kind of get there. I'm actually in a coding group that is out of Florida that you would love. So
Ooh,
they have hackathons and all kinds of awesome shit. I will give you the information
awesome.
because you're gonna love it. The guy that's over it is fucking amazing too. But anyway, you're not too old. Keep chasing that because we're both going to do it. We're going to be software engineers, full stack software
Hell yeah.
engineers.
Hell yeah.
I'm excited now.
Sexy ass coders.
I know. Listen, there are not very many women in coding. And you know, originally women were the coders, and then it all went to males. And then we just kind of fell out because everybody's like, oh, that's not a woman's job. Because whenever, you know, the guys came back from war, they started taking up all those jobs. And then we're kind of over here left on the side. Oh, I need somebody to wash their clothes. Listen, I'll fucking wash clothes and do coding, but I ain't washing your damn clothes. I wash my own stuff.
I'm a coder robot to wash my clothes for me, bitch.
Yes. We're going to get that shit. We're going to get that shit. So now that we're, I can't talk to you right now. Now that we kind of got over the coding bump, I didn't expect to be as excited because I don't ever get to kind of lay out my geek with anyone. Let's kind of talk about how sex work affects you mentally. Does it have a positive, a negative, or neutral effect?
Overall positive, and that is something that I have cultivated for myself because I have started and ended a lot of hobbies in my life. Picked up embroidery for a while. I still love it, but it's just like the mental block of like I just can't pick up a hoop and start. I can't do it anymore. So
I think that's part of the ADHD too.
Oh, 100. Yeah, 100%.
I have that problem too.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah,
be like, you
I get so sad
too, on my wall.
Because it feels like you can't reach your maximum potential with that because it's like you can't go back to it. It's like your brain just refuses to go back to it. It's like,
yeah,
well, I could be doing that, but I could be doing these other things that need me more at this time. And then it's like you have to go full circle
for a month. 100% for a month and then never again. Like the amount of, and then it cycles back. Like 8 years later, I'll be like, I think I'm gonna buy some yarn and start knitting. My mom's like, you just had all that shit. I'm like, I know, but I gave it away when I decided I didn't want to do it, but now I kind of want to do it. Honestly, I always thought it would be really cool to have like a hobby exchange where just be like, all right, well, I hyperfixated on this for like a couple weeks and now I'm sick of it. So I will trade you my crocheting stuff if you want to give me some woodworking stuff. And then you just like ship your like craft stuff to each other. It's a great idea, but I don't want to have to be the one to start it. So I just keep telling other people, like hoping someone else will do it for me.
That would be fucking awesome, actually. Like I feel like I would benefit a lot from that. And like I have all these how-to books and all this like tons of craft stuff, and then it's all just like collecting dust because I got so excited, went all in, like balls to the wall, got all the shit I needed for it, and then it was so amazing. And for like 6 months I was just like, yeah, I'm living this. And then after that I was like, that kind of died. And then I have all this shit, and then it's like, what do I do with it now? I just like look at it. So yeah,
RIP to all my fallen hobbies.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm glad that it's a positive impact though, because when it comes to sex work, I know that there can be some negative attributes. Like there's some really, really shitty people that don't know how to be decent human beings. So obviously that percentage is very low. Okay. But it's still there. And on your days, whenever you're not feeling yourself as much and those shitty comments come up and those shitty people come up, it's kind of hard because it's playing on that PTSD or those emotions or whatever it is that's kind of dragging you down at the moment. And I feel like that's where it's good to have a support group. You know, some people inside of sex work and some people outside of sex work. So they can be like, you're a badass bitch. Like this motherfucker's just taking advantage of you because you're emotional right now. You're a badass bitch. Don't let them get to you. Like, I feel like we need that.
Yeah. For me,
And
it's just always I go through like days or like a week at a time where, and I really do have to sit down with myself because I'll just be like, I got home, I feel like crap, I need to take a shower. I
Mhm.
don't want to take pictures of my ass right now, but if I'm not taking pictures of my ass right now, then I am not like living my full potential. And I have to be like, okay, but if it becomes too much about the work part of sex work, then it's
Yeah,
no longer me being like truthful about it because
yeah.
it really is to me. I just always center it around like connection. It's a connection between me and another person that we just happen to want to share with an audience.
Mhm.
And so like, you know, when I'm like struggling financially or mentally or anything like that, I make myself step away from it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm hit a good balance where I'm like collabing pretty much, you know, every weekend trying to get stuff on like a regular posting schedule, but I'm also not going to kill myself for it. I'm not going to do anything I'm not comfortable with, and it's always going
Right.
to be something that I do because I enjoy it.
Yeah. And it should always be that. Like, so if it ever gets to the point where you don't enjoy it and you're forcing yourself to do things that you don't want to do, you'll get burnt out. And that's why the average lifespan of people that are in the industry kind of is condensed depending on which portion you're in, which niche you're in. Like whenever you're a porn star, the average life of a porn star is a year or less because so many of them get burnt out. And it's the same with fetish work, any kind of kink. Like if you're doing too much and you're exhausting yourself mentally and you don't want to be there, you'll run from it eventually because it's taking a toll mentally and it's not good. You have to find that middle ground where you're being both productive and you're happy, because whenever you're happy and you're confident, your content's going to be better. So it's going to make people want it more. Just like your pinned Twitter, like I was all up in that. I was like, yes, please. And in order for people to want it, to kind of get wrapped up in it themselves, they have to feel like they're there, you know? And if you're not convincing, if you feel like shit and you're performing like shit, people not really going to want to buy it. I mean, I know I like to have quality things. I like to know somebody's enjoying it because that helps me enjoy it. You know what I mean? So that's my 2 cents. Don't burn yourself out if you're listening and you're new to
Yeah,
this.
100%.
Step away if you need to. So after you kind of got started in sex works, do you have anything that you regret?
Not really. I mean, I'm thinking about it, and like I said, I had dabbled in this a couple times before and never really been ready to dive into it. And I finally
Right.
just hit a point where I was like, I got nothing to lose. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care about this anymore. Like, I know people are attracted
Mhm.
to me. I know people are interested in the things I have to say and want to share with them.
Right.
So I'm just going to do it. And
Yeah.
and then I've just always kept that vision for myself of like, you know, carefully vetting the people that I work with so that, you know, because
Hmm.
God forbid, you only ever hear about the crappy things people have done after you've started following them and liking stuff and
Yes.
supporting them. And then it's like, oh, shit,
Yeah.
he did all this stuff and I didn't know. Like, I wish there was just like a universal blacklist app or something where
Yeah.
even just like, I don't know, not even like really accusations, just like, I don't know. Cause it's
Kind
just,
of
it sucks
review
having to like,
system. So you can just have like reviews of people that you have had interactions with.
yeah. Like a face to face, even like if they could integrate it with talent testing, even
Yeah.
like I want to say almost like a contact tracing program, but just so that like, because then even that would hold people accountable for like, okay, well, you're saying you haven't worked with anyone, you know, in the last 2 weeks. This person says they worked with you 4 days ago. So,
Yes.
and then also just like let us review each other. 100%
Yes.
should be able to do that.
I agree. That would be fucking amazing, especially if you got the talent testing in it, because the really cool thing about that, it would help minimize any kind of STIs, any kind of outbreaks Like that would be fucking awesome. Especially with like this crazy bullshit that went on a little while back with all of the, people getting all these STIs and stuff and spreading them around everybody else, and they had to shut down the fucking whole industry for a while. And like that was fucking crazy. And it's all because people being dishonest.
Mhm.
Like, it's crazy to me. How can you be okay, just like ethically, nothing else, just ethically? How could you be okay knowing that you did some shit that you weren't supposed to do? You don't know for sure if you're clean and still stepping on set. Like that, I still can't fathom it. I just
I had a
can't.
guy recently that really pissed me off because we were going to do like a paid shoot. I was going to
Mhm.
have him come to my place because sometimes I shoot, out of my home when it's someone that I'm comfortable with.
Right.
And like one of the last things, we had set a time, a day, a price, and all that, and was like, cool. So here's my test results. Can I see yours? And he was like, oh, it's been a while since I got tested. I don't actually know how to like access those results. I'm clean. And I was like, you should be able to call whatever provider you went to. They should be able to give you a copy of those results.
Yeah.
I'm clean just isn't. I was like, sorry, that's not really
Right.
good enough. I can't shoot with you if you can't prove that you don't have anything. And then he was like, oh, okay, well, oh yeah, I guess I'll go try and get a fresh test. What kind of test should I get? I was like,
So
I'm
this
like,
guy
so
literally, he sounds
I'm
like
like,
he never had tests done before.
and I answered the question just because I was like, I'm like, we've all been there. We've all,
Right.
you kind of hit the door running, and then you're like, shit, people are using all these words, and I don't testing. And so I
Yeah.
was like, so talent testing, gold standard panels, kind of the industry standard.
Right.
We do that about every 2 weeks. It's like, oh, cool, cool, cool. And then I was like, in light of this, I'm not going to be shooting with you. Thank you for.
Right.
But it's just
For
like,
sure.
you got to ask these questions. You got to like before you just because it's like playing with someone's whole life. Like some of this
Yes.
stuff could kill people if they don't know about it.
Yes. Especially if
Can't be
there's
doing
some kind of underlying issue. Maybe it doesn't kill you, but maybe it could kill them. You
right.
know, that's like people with autoimmune disorders, people with some kind of deficiency. Like you could literally kill these people. Like
Hmm.
just with contact, you could literally kill these people. And it's okay if you don't know that stuff. It's okay to be like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. Can you kind of tell me? Because anybody that really wants to work with you, they're going to be like, okay, well, this is what you need to do. This is how soon I need the test. This is how far apart you need to be tested. This is what the industry does. These are kind of the requirements. Because I mean, being safe and educated, that is something that everyone should be if you're in the industry at all. It doesn't matter if you're an amateur or if you're a pro, period. You need to be clean, you need to be safe, you need to be educated. That's kind of one reason why I developed this podcast. It's because I want people to kind of know this side, to know our humanity, because we're not a fucking Barbie doll that they can just dress up and do whatever the fuck they want with anytime that they want. Like, yeah, you can buy a fantasy, cool, but that doesn't mean I'm going to always be that fantasy. And then they can get this knowledge too. Like, if you want to get into sex work, cool, but you got to go through the proper channels like everybody else. You can't just pop in and not have proper testing, not be informed, not know about aftercare, not know about briefing. Like all these things are extremely important.
All the random men who show up in my, hey, you want to collab? And then I go to their page and I'm like, are you even? They'll be like, oh, God, football, family, and I'm like, are you
Mm-hmm.
even a creator? Oh, I was thinking about it. I'm like, what? So you
Mm-hmm.
just want to hook up? Like, have we forgotten that the word hookup
Yes.
exists because they're two separate things?
Oh my goodness. I see this so much. And I actually saw a guy earlier on Twitter talking shit and is like, well, all these women are putting these men on blast. No fucking kidding.
I
Yeah,
left
you
like
know
six
exactly what I'm
comments on
talking.
that thread.
Yeah,
Yep, yep,
you know what I'm talking about.
yep. 'Cause I saw
Like,
that and then I was like, all right, let's see who's responded so far. And then and the first person was like, yeah, because guys approach us, they don't really know what they're talking about. And the guy OP
yeah.
was like, well, these men need to do their research. I was like, right, cool. So how about instead of criticizing the women who choose to communicate openly with each other about these shady men, you direct your
Mm-hmm.
scoring at the shady men who should do their research?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Kind of seems like you
100%.
came out swinging, you didn't know who you were fighting yet.
Yep. 100%.
Somehow,
That's exactly what I
it's
said.
women's fault.
And I didn't
Cool.
have time to blow up on that shit. I just went through and liked some of the comments where other people were like, motherfucker, you need to reevaluate this. I was like, I'm gonna pick this one back up later. I'm gonna bookmark this because I didn't have time.
Like an aspiring porn star. I was like, bro, you gotta check the attitude because this is telling us everything we need to know. Like, okay, cool. Would never work with you, so aspire all you want.
Yep. You're letting women know that you already chose a side before you knew what was involved. You're saying that you're going to choose the man's side regardless of whether he is clean, tested, educated, an actual creator. Like most women aren't going to come out and try to shit all over somebody. Like if it is an interaction with someone that is worth having an interaction with, yeah, maybe they do want to do a collab. Maybe they'll tell you, hey, I'll do the collab, but for this price. Because let me tell you, at the end of the day, pussy is worth more than dick. I don't care what anybody says. Pussy is worth more than dick. That's why women have, like, when it comes to selling pussy, it is much easier to peddle it. That's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day,
women are magic.
Exciting. Yeah, dick's not all that exciting. Like, yeah, dick can be pretty, but most of the time, you know, if it's compared to pussy, it's gonna make more money. Pussy's gonna make more money. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased. I'm saying that because it's true. So
a dick, there's no secret. It's just like, it's just there.
Yeah.
The vagina's got all these like nooks and crannies. You gotta like,
yeah, folds and all these. I'm gonna start drooling talking about it. even I'm over here drooling thinking about it. So, my point is, people like that like to jump the gun and just talk hella shit, and they don't like to be informed and educated because, one, they're probably just pandering to other men, and they're like, yeah, bro, you were so right. No, you're not right, because you just shot yourself in the foot with the majority of women that could potentially want to collab with you, because they're like, oh, well, this guy, he's like promoting rape culture. Because if this random dude is like, yeah, I'm a content creator, 5 followers, like following 10,000 people, but only 5 followers. And he claims that he's this giant porn star, and he has this, like, he doesn't want to pay for it because his dick's gold. Nobody is going to want to watch this female fuck a random motherfucker that don't even know how to do shit, because he's probably going to nut like 2 seconds in anyway. Like, in all reality, these people that have like this big,
shaky
huge
POV, like,
yeah,
weird angles, yeah.
And it's like, nobody wants to watch that. There's a reason why you're supposed to collaborate with people on your level. So if you have 5 followers, find somebody with 5 or 10 followers and ask them to collaborate, not find somebody with 3,500 followers and be like, I know I only have 5. And some people will still collaborate with you if you're an actual model. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't try to use somebody else's shit or just try to hook up with somebody, because that's what fucking Tinder's for, not the DMs on Twitter or on OnlyFans or some kind of shit. Because this is actual work to some of us, you know, not a play date where we get our dick wet. Like, this is work. And you should treat it like that, right? So many people are not professional and they don't treat it like work. And then they wonder why shit blows up in their face.
I had a guy. So I did like my first like produced scene with the facial party, who's a friend of mine. And, you know, we did what you do for a porno, where it was like we came up with a scenario, we acted out the scenario, and then we posted it like it was just something that happened. And I'm so sorry to like rip the cloth off anyone's eyes that thought it was like legitimately I just messaged him out of the blue and he came over and blew a load on my face. It didn't really happen that way. I'm so sorry to be the one to tell.
It never does.
Like, because you have to like know and respect someone before you just randomly treat them like a sex object. And so many of
Yes.
them don't want to do the first before they do the second. So I had this guy message me and he was like, I'd love to drop a load on you. And I didn't say anything. Like I check my message requests every once in a while just to see if like a
Right.
legit creator got caught. Didn't say anything. And then like 10 hours later, I saw it was blue again. And he was like, see, this shit doesn't work. I was like,
I seen that.
yeah, you
No
saw that
fucking
one?
kidding, it doesn't work. Yeah, no
Yeah.
fucking
I
kidding,
was
it
like,
doesn't.
oh, really? Messaging a woman you don't know with no context and none of that shit. And then I blocked him. So then he messages me from his IG business account and was like, you don't take jokes well, do you? I was like, you're going to have to give me more context here, my guy. I don't know whether I agree with
Mm,
you yet. Like, what was the
right.
joke? Was it actually funny? And he's like, oh, because I'm like, I was pretty sure that's who it was, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make you work for it.
Right.
Tell me
Yeah.
what did you say that you thought was funny? Explain the joke to me. And then he got like more and more. He's like, I just fucking. Oh, and then of course it went from I'd love to drop a load on you to you're just another fat lonely whore sucking dick to make her rent money. I was like, I'm sucking dick because I love it and it happens to make me money.
Yeah.
I don't know where you think you've insulted me, my guy. Like
Yeah.
your business is clearly in very stable, reasonable hands. God,
And
I hope
you
you never
know,
make content.
it's like every time they don't get their way, these narcissistic, just completely insecure assholes, every time they don't get their way, it's some kind of physical insult or you suck dick for money. So what if I do? Well, what's so bad about that? I'm getting paid to suck
2 minutes
dick.
ago, you wanted me to suck your dick. So are
Yeah.
we above this or are we like wishy
Yeah.
washy? These men are wishy washy.
Jealous, so fucking jealous and insecure. They don't know how to take no. And that, I mean, listen, I'm sure everybody has had rejection at some point in their life. And if you've had a terrible time with rejection, get therapy because you shouldn't be bleeding on other people because you have a problem. Because I'm going to tell you, sometimes people say no to collaborations just because you don't have the same style as them. It's not personal. It's it's not a good fit, and I've seen it happen a lot. Like, you don't have to collaborate with somebody just for the sake of collaborating. Usually, you want to find somebody that has a similar niche, has similar fans, because that's how you generate people to your platform. You know, you guys share fans. So, you want to have somebody that has something in common with you. That's like people that are in like extreme hardcore bondage, and then the very feminine like anime cosplay characters. You don't see those two meshing very well often, and people don't understand that there's commonality in that. So you have to find somebody that kind of does similar things that you do. Like, yeah, it's cool every now and then to go off on a limb and do the wild hair kind of thing, but the majority of the time you want somebody that's got something in common with you, right?
It's literally human nature. We have evolved to look for things that are like us. So when
Mm-hmm.
literal like sex, physical connection is on the table, why would you expect someone to just, oh yeah, I'll fuck you without
Yeah.
knowing anything about you, without thinking that they might be attracted to you? Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone everyone is someone's cup of tea. You just might not be theirs, and that's
Yes,
fine.
that's
I have
that's
stopped.
completely fine.
I gave a couple like no face, no content accounts a chance because they're like, oh well, I can send you some, I can send you examples. And I'm like, you shouldn't have to though. Like
Right.
the whole point of you messaging me as a fellow content creator, I should be able to just click on your
Look on your
name,
wall.
go to your like and face out creators, no
Yeah.
problem with that. The ski mask, the POV, whatever, as
Yeah.
long as I can get a taste of who you are and how you
Right.
work.
And you're not
If
trying to
not,
hide yourself and be some kind of like putting shit in
exactly.
the dark so they can attack you and do some kind of weird shit.
Exactly. Yeah,
Like,
like what are you
safety is
hiding?
important. Yeah,
Right.
that's fucking huge. Fucking huge. And like, they should be concerned about their safety too. Like, I want to know all the information about the person that I'm going to be collaborating with, like, I'm good. I'm good. Because whenever I'm looking for somebody that I want to collaborate with or do something with, I want to make sure they have a similar style to me for many reasons. One is chemistry looks good on camera. I don't care who you are. Chemistry looks good on camera. It's going to sell better, right? So with talking about that, all of the kind of juicy stuff that we were just talking about, has sex work taught you anything?
It's taught me to uncouple my value from sex as a person because I'll be real honest. Like, hold on, I'm gonna go get my water real quick.
Okay.
I just noticed that my little pink box light died. I don't know how long ago. No, it's just blue barely hanging in there. So I am 30 now.
Mm-hmm.
I was a virgin up until the age of 26.
Ooh, how did that happen?
Didn't date in high school. I think I was like too afraid to be perceived by anyone. So I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm going to read books. I'm going to not make waves. Then I got to college and spread out. I went on like a couple dates,
Mhm.
but I also had an RA who basically joked about like, oh, I'll take you to McDonald's and then we can have sex. And I was like, damn, not even like a sit down restaurant, huh?
Yeah.
And when I did lose my virginity, it was to a guy I met on Tinder. It was bad. He bought Domino's, and then after the bad sex, which happened while the newest Hellboy was playing in the background. So as a result, I don't remember a thing about it, but I will not watch it again because it's just like, I don't need to
Yeah.
go back there.
Yeah.
Then he like held me captive in his room for like a full hour while he just talked about all his weird conspiracy theories and like vaguely incelish ideas. And I was like, oh, cool. Can I put my pants on now? I have to go. And
Yeah.
not as traumatic as it sounds. It was just kind of like I was like, all right. Like I had toys. I knew what I liked. I was just like,
Right.
I want the card swiped. Like it's not really
Yeah.
even a physical transaction at this point. I just want like the anxiety of the first time
Right.
over.
Yeah, for sure.
And so from 26 to now, like I said, I read a lot of fan fiction growing up, the smutty
Mhm.
novels, all that kind of shit. Like I knew what was what. I just didn't
Right.
have a lot of like practical application.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
What was your question? I forgot. I'm so distracted.
That's okay. That's okay. We got this juiciness. I wanted to know about it. You can't bring something like that up and not tell me about it. I have to hear it. So, did sex work teach you anything?
Oh yeah. Um it it's taught me to like I think I said decouple my value from sex.
Mhm.
Sex doesn't make me any more or less worth anything really.
Right. Yeah.
Um there was probably a couple months where I like would wake up in a cold sweat at like 3 a.m. like, oh, what if someone from my office finds my account? And I've even like now it's just like I get in and I'm like, all right, no one here looks like they know what I look like naked. Cool. And I don't even know if anything would change. That's the thing. Like we have like a female business owner. The reason I got the job is because she had to hire the guy that she hired before me because he was sexually harassing the assistant. So like clearly
Oh,
she's on the right side of things.
right.
I like to think that it, God forbid, if anyone ever found me, it would be a respectful conversation between the two of
Hmm.
us, and then we
Yeah.
may still part ways. But
Yeah.
I am not ashamed of what I'm doing. I
Right.
don't think I'm doing anything wrong. I wouldn't be putting it out there if I wasn't proud of it. So
Yeah. Right. 100%.
it's
It doesn't mean you
taught me
have to
what
be
I
like
liked.
super flashy about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't use my name. I don't yeah, I took my city out of my like bio or like out of the
Hmm.
like location on Twitter and just put it in my bio instead because I was like, oh shit, that will actually like push it out to people who are local.
Yeah.
And until once I don't have a vanilla job to worry about, I don't give a fuck if people know my
Right.
name, where you know my city. I don't
Right.
care about any of that. But it's just like still trying to juggle that like reasonable doubt of like, well, if it is found out, I did you know what I could to
Right.
kind of keep my identity secret.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Your precautions. And that's kind of something that you have to learn as you go to kind of how much information do you want to give? Because I mean, parts of you are going to come out in your work anyway. eventually, you know, especially if you're in for an extended period of time, parts of you will slowly come out. And people that have been with you for a while, they're going to see those little tidbits of you, you know? So you have to kind of decide how much you want to show them.
Mhm.
I'm all out there, man. I'm balls to the wall. It's all out there hanging out. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I don't even care. I think I stopped caring back whenever I was a teacher. Yeah. There were people at the see, I was a bus driver and a teacher, and there were people at my bus garage that were like, "Are you on Pornhub? I saw someone that looks just like you." And I was like, "Yeah, I am actually."
I love that.
So, yeah. Yep, that's how my work found out. One of them got curious and went to Pornhub. I don't know how they found me still to this day. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they looked up a location, because that would be the only thing that I could think of.
I will
For
say, my 14-year-old nephew did come across my Instagram, which is not terribly spicy, but you know, it's Instagram, which is owned by Facebook. So it's like they push your contacts no matter what you. So
Yes, even if
I
you
had to
select not to.
specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to block him, and then we haven't talked about it. My sister just texted me and was like, "Yeah, so he came out and asked what you do for work." And I was like, "Ah, shit." With like the link in the bio, like OnlyFans. I was like, "Yeah, I can't spin this. There's no way to." And
I just own the shit. Be like,
oh, I was
be
fully
careful.
ready to. I was fully ready to have the conversation with him. Listen, it's not something that I ever wanted you to like be aware of or see, and definitely I told my sister, I'm like, God, make sure he doesn't have a Twitter. Don't ever let him go to Twitter or Reddit.
Or at least if he gets one, go ahead and block all of your shit.
Well, I'm like, yeah, just go check and make sure, because like the shit I've seen on Twitter, I know a 14-year-old boy should, God, please.
Yeah, because if you know his handle, you could block him, right?
Yeah, but it's just like it's like the Wild West out there. Like TikTok is enough of a thing. Instagram, yeah.
I don't think a lot of the young people use TikTok, or not TikTok, Twitter, because I think most of them are on TikTok, right?
I honestly don't know. I hear a lot of chatter about like people being worried about minors finding Twitter, but I was 29 before I was like, oh shit, there's porn on Twitter?
Yeah.
The fuck?
I didn't know there was porn on Twitter until I was into sex work for like a year. I was actually I was doing in real life, and I had like an Instagram page, and that was it. And I didn't know anything about Twitter. And then I made a Twitter, and I happened to be across somebody's page. I can't even remember whose page I seen first, but I was like, holy fuck. We're allowed to do this over here? Okay.
So no, but that doesn't stop us.
I was like, let me go ahead and follow. Because I am a pervert. I love seeing people be positive and embrace their body, and I love seeing all body types and people just finding power within themselves. I love the freedom of sex work. I love the fact that so many people can be so different and still all thrive. Like, I fucking love it. And all of the forms of therapy, like, hell yeah. I'm gonna say that a year of BDSM therapy helped me more than any therapist ever did. Like, hands down. And I can honestly say that all of my clients have said the same thing. It's an amazing atmosphere. So yeah. 100%.
You know, it's funny. I'm a hands-on learner, so that may be why it works better for me. All that talk therapy was just like, okay, but nothing's happening. We just keep having the same conversation over and over again. Like, I got to actually live it.
Yeah. It's like you hear it and you understand it, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really change anything. Like, I heard it, but it didn't fix anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then these practical applications, you're like, yeah, I feel it. Like, not just hear it, but I can feel it now. Because I mean, I always feel refreshed. I always feel excited. Like, yeah, I might feel a little tired after some scenes, but I always feel refreshed and I always feel excited. You know what I mean? Like, damn, that was some bomb ass shit. It made me feel good. You know what I mean? Like, That's where I get it anyway. Okay, I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to let you get on with your day because I don't want to get you tied up too much because I'm too excited talking to you. Okay. So my last question for you is going to be, hold on, let me find it. If you could say something to someone struggling with desire, what advice would you give them?
I think one of the biggest things that hinders desire is shame.
Mm-hmm.
And especially as someone who spent most of their life not realizing that they had never considered what they deserved, it's so easy to just like fall into that kind of like waiting to be given, you know, not asking for things, being too ashamed to ask for things.
Right.
So I think my biggest thing would be to learn that every negative emotion is something that you can grow from, is a tool that you can use. One of my really good friends put it very eloquently when she said that jealousy is the neon sign of desire. If you're jealous about something that someone else has, it's because you want it.
Yeah.
Just feeling jealousy is not a negative thing. It's how you act on that jealousy. So go out and earn it for yourself. Go out and buy one. Go out and build one, you know, all that kind of stuff that, you know, just learn what are the roots of your desire, really examine it. Do you desire to be useful to someone else because you will genuinely enjoy that, or because you think they will enjoy it? Mm-hmm. Really boil it down to like the healthy desires, pursuing those, and then just realizing that it's okay to want things.
Right. Yes. I love it. I love it. I think that was the best question tailored for our conversation, because you are one of the best people to give that perspective about desire, because you kind of didn't pursue it until later on when you were like, maybe I do want this, you know, maybe this is attainable. And it is, but it's a matter of you kind of finding yourself, you know, because your desires might not be the same as other people's. I mean, when it comes to kink, even, there are different levels of kink. And just because you like the softer kink doesn't mean you like kink any less than other people. Or just because you like the harder kink doesn't mean you should be ashamed because you like that hard shit. Like we were talking about CNC earlier. I mean, it's okay to like what you like. Just make sure it's healthy, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Forbidden Depths. Remember to go on over and follow her on Twitter. Also, all of her links are in her bio conveniently for you. You can literally just go click on it. It's allmylinks.com/Petty Betty Brat. And of course, do you do customs?
I do.
I didn't see any in your bio. She does customs too. So
yeah, on my OnlyFans, on my free OnlyFans, and also ManyVids.
Awesome. Awesome. I will see you guys in the next episode. And thank you so much, Betty, for being so amazing today.
Thank you. This was fun.
Hey, it's Queen Frostbitten again, your host. I just want to remind you that you can follow us on YouTube at Forbidden Depths. That's FORBIDDENDEPTHS. Or over on Twitter at 4BIDDENDPODCAST. Remember to always stay educated, consensual, and safe. We'll see you on the next show.